There was once a girls' prison and an orphanage on the island where you are standing now. The lost souls of Cockatoo Island are the spirits of the girls who once inhabited these spaces. These are their stories. The air that surrounds you is heavy, with a dark and foreboding presence. Proceed through the gates and then across the plaza towards the entrance of the tunnel. Once you reach the entrance, proceed to the next track. As you enter the tunnel, you feel a cold presence surrounding you. The ground beneath your feet is wet and slippery. A rat runs across your foot. Martha Jane Schumacher was lost in this very tunnel and never found.
The guards herded us like cattle towards the entrance of a dark, dark tunnel. The floor was all wet and slippery, and rats were everywhere, walking over our feet. The girls were screaming, crying, and praying. I struggled to keep my footing. I could barely see. We didn't know where we were going. Then the guards told us about an underground asylum where deranged convicts were held that was connected to the tunnels. Sometimes the convicts would skate and wander the tunnels at night. Some of the older girls said they were just trying to scare us. But by the time we reached the end of the tunnel, Martha was missing. I begged to go back and find her, but the guard said no. Anything could have happened to her in there. And we never heard anything about her again.
Once you have reached the end of the tunnel, proceed to the next track. Now veer off to your right towards a set of stairs that winds up the side of a cliff. Carefully make your way up these stairs. Do not lose your footing. Climb some way up and then stop to look out over the water to your left. A ship called the Vernon was once anchored here, housing 500 orphaned and wayward boys. Some of the more daring girls in the prison would sneak out down the stairs at night and go to see the boys on the ship. Once you reach the top of the stairs, proceed across the patch of grass and walk under the bridge that you can now see on your screen. Then turn left and walk towards the isolation cells. Proceed to the next track when you see the structure that is on your screen now. A very dark aura fills this space. There is an aggressive presence here. You feel very uneasy. There are two presences filling this space. They are both tormented and disturbed. Nobody could ever quite understand where Dorothy had picked up her wild and aggressive tendencies. On her first day on the island, she pushed a nun down the stairs and over the cliff that you just climbed. The nun never walked again, and from that day forward, Dorothy was never to see the light of day. Even after weeks in solitary confinement, she showed no remorse. When the guards would bring her food, she would laugh at them. She said she liked it better in there. Just Dorothy with her sick thoughts and her rats. The other cell that you see here was home to a 20-year-old woman, Silent Carol. She was in a depraved mental state. She rarely spoke, but would sing songs about how she'd tortured boys slowly to death. She was the daughter of a serial killer prisoner and an old prostitute. As a child, she'd been brutally beaten and violated by her parents and older brothers. By her teenage years, she had developed sadistic tendencies towards boys. Emotionally damaged beyond repair, Carol grew into a violent psychopath. You feel a strange contraction in your airways. A dark presence fills your body and your legs start to feel heavy. You don't belong here. You must make haste. Take refuge in the guard's tower by following the directions on your screen now. Once you're inside, proceed to the next track. Through the barred windows of this structure, the watchful eyes of guards once scanned for prisoners who dared to attempt an escape. On the 14th of February 1872, Kate Geraghty, a 17-year-old prisoner, attempted to escape with her secret lover, 19-year-old George Malkovich, who'd been sent to the neighbouring boys' ship for pickpocketing. Suddenly, the pair was stunned in the gaze of a spotlight and sprayed with bullets. George hit the ground in an instant. A bullet had passed straight through his head. An injured Kate clambered to the water's edge and jumped into the ocean. Kate had always been a strong swimmer. With furious stroke after stroke, she began powering towards the neighbouring shore of Balmain. The guards found her with the spotlight, but they didn't shoot. They only watched, and then they cheered as suddenly Kate's head disappeared under the water and a pool of red surrounded her. She'd been eaten by sharks. This island has seen tears, fear, pain, desperation, but love and passion too. Many of the lost and innocent daughters who were held captive here had dreams and beauty within themselves. There were suicides, corporal punishment, cruelty, and many unsuccessful attempts of escape. And on a quiet night, if you listen carefully, you can still hear the lost souls of Cockatoo Island screaming in pain.